2024, the Administration of Parliament Amendment Bill 2024 was tabled and read for the first time. Consequently, it was referred to this Honorable Committee for further processing. And I began by highlighting the following days when I got the letter saying come the following day. So there was a bit of speed there. Anyhow, the position of the leader of the opposition in Parliament commenced in Uganda in the year 1958, just by way of background, when the first direct elections in the Legislative Council, LEGCO, were held, where the position of leader of opposition was formally created in this institution. Following the overthrow of the Uganda People's Congress in 1985, multi-party dispensation went into abeyance. The political space was suppressed until the early 2000s, when the political pressure was exerted to reopen the space for multi-party politics. In the year 2005, a referendum was held and the majority of voters preferred a return to multi-party politics. The 2006 elections were thus the first multi-party elections held, bringing an end to the single-party system that prevailed at the time. Consequently, the office of the Leader of the Opposition was established in Parliament at the inception of the 8th Parliament, pursuant to the constitutional provisions that restored multi-party politics in Uganda in 2005. The office draws its existence from Article 82A of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Part 2A of the Administration of Parliament Amendment Act of 2006. Article 82A of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda of 1995 as amended is to the effect that there shall be a leader of the opposition in Parliament under a multi-party system. Part 2A of the Administration of Parliament Amendment Act of 2006 gives efficacy to Article 82A. Through sections 6A to 6E, the procedure of coming up with the leader of the opposition and the functions of the same are well provided for. Section 6E of the Administration of Parliament Act stipulates the role and functions of the leader of the opposition, and with specificity. Section 2 states that the leader of the opposition shall, under subsection 1, in consultation with his or her party leadership, appoint a shadow cabinet from members of the opposition in Parliament, with portfolios and functions that correspond to those in the government cabinet. The object of this bill is to amend the Administration of Parliament Act, Cap 272, to provide for the election of the leader of the opposition by members of the opposition in Parliament, to provide for additional grounds upon which the leader of the opposition may cease to hold office, to require the shadow cabinet to be approved by members of the opposition in Parliament, to require the leader of the opposition to consult opposition political parties represented in Parliament when appointing chairpersons and deputy chairpersons of the relevant standing committees of Parliament, and for related matters. Let me talk about the challenges posed by the proposed bill from my standpoint. Election of the leader of the opposition by members of the opposition in Parliament has significant implications for our democratic process. While the notion of voting for the LUMU may seem democratic in theory, it presents several challenges that could undermine the effectiveness, accountability, and stability of our parliamentary system. Historically, the election of the LUMU by the largest party has been a cornerstone of parliamentary democracy, particularly in systems influenced by the Westminster model. This practice ensures that the opposition is credible and representative of a significant portion of the electorate. By shifting to a voting system in the House, Honorable Chair and members, we risk disrupting this established tradition, which has served to maintain a clear and effective opposition that can hold the government accountable. Because even government should be interested in a credible opposition that holds it accountable. Parliament has got two sides, Honorable Chair and members. The right side of the Speaker and the left side. The right side is led by the leader of government business, who is also the Prime Minister, while the left side is led by the leader of the opposition. The lead of government business is not elected by MPs on the government side. So why would we be seeking to have the leader on one side elected? Honorable Chair and members, while the intention behind the proposal to have the shadow cabinet approved by all members of the opposition in Parliament may be presented as one that ensures inclusivity, it presents several critical challenges that could undermine the effectiveness, efficacy, accountability, and stability of our parliamentary system and operations. The shadow cabinet is a replica of the government cabinet, which is appointed by the person announced as winner of an election. Why then is it necessary for the shadow cabinet to be determined by all opposition MPs? Honorable Chair and members, the appointment of chairpersons and deputy chairpersons of accountability committees has been a prerogative of the opposition leadership in Parliament without requiring the endorsement of all opposition political parties that are represented in Parliament. This practice was established to ensure effectiveness in holding the government accountable. The same practice applies to chairpersons and deputy chairpersons of all other committees except accountability committees. Honorable Chair and colleague members of Parliament, for information purposes, Parliament has got a total of 28 standing and sectoral committees. However, only 4 of these 28 committees are led by the opposition. The rest, which is 24, are led by the ruling party. The ruling party selects the leaders of the committees under their mandate, that's the 24. Why then would the opposition be deprived of the same practice? What exactly would we be seeking to remedy? Honorable Chair, I saw a belated afterthought of the mover of this bill, saying even the chief opposition whip, whom we call the cow on our end, should be subjected to a determination of all opposition MPs. Again, the opposition side has got the chief opposition whip, and the ruling party side has got the government chief whip, who is also appointed and is a member of cabinet. That's the government cabinet. I ask again, why would we be interested in subjecting one side to a process that the other side is not subjected to, Honorable Chair and members? Do we want to create a situation of more important and less important positions in this our parliamentary system that is critical and where all these roles are critical? Honorable Chair and members, election of the leaders on the opposition side of Parliament by members would make the opposition prone to fragmentation. When opposition members in Parliament are forced to compete for leadership positions, it can lead to divisions and weaken their collective ability to unite and hold the ruling government accountable. A fragmented opposition is less effective in presenting a united front, which is critical for influencing legislative outcomes and ensuring that diverse viewpoints are presented. Honorable Chair and members, the mover of this bill says the bill is intended for the good of the opposition. But as I have been observing, all opposition political parties have disregarded this proposed amendment, saying it is not in any way relevant. So I ask, which opposition is the mover of the bill talking about? Honorable Chair and members of this committee, I'm not the first leader of opposition in this Parliament, and I will not be the last. So if the mover is targeting the current LUMU, then he is, with all due respect, misguided. Because I'm not in this office permanently. Tomorrow, it may not be me occupying this office, but it is important that we do not emasculate whoever the occupant of this office is. Honorable Chair, I saw colleagues from the NRM who appeared before this honorable committee yesterday, acknowledging that they too could be in the opposition someday. And that is the reality of politics, honorable colleagues. So let's seek to strengthen as opposed to watering down these different political offices. Conclusively, honorable Chair and members, the current legal regime is devoid of any reasonable lacuna that would warrant an amendment. I thank you.
Taking leave of Parliament to present the bill. Being that you are his leader, I would like that clarification to be drawn if he ever consulted the leader of opposition. My second question is whether the Right Honourable LUP has interacted with the Honourable LUMU before this date.
Interacting on the bill?
Yes, interacting on the bill, on the amendment. And lastly, I would like it to be on record whether the Right Honourable LUP believes that the Honourable LUMU bill is actually targeting him as the sitting leader of opposition. Thank you so much, Honourable Chair.
Written to me indicating that he was uncomfortable with the speed at which the bill was moving, and he called it a supersonic speed. I want to put it on record that the alleged supersonic speed has since been managed. As you can see, we are in the third week of considering the bill, so the issue of the supersonic speed does not arise. We could actually take a month or even two still considering this bill. But the issue was just that I used my discretion as chair to decide on which bill to start with, because we have quite a number of bills in the committee. And I thought the bill was small, and I thought it would be disposed of first. But as you can see, it has dragged on, and it will continue to drag on. We intend to give stakeholders enough time to give in their views. The second one is on the issue of the mover targeting the current law. The mover, while presenting this bill to us, actually indicated to us that he would want the bill to start in the next term during the 12th Parliament. I think that then also allays your fears that the bill is strategically targeting you, because he said it here on camera and it's on record. Now, my substantive question is that you complain that the other side, the government side, has no issues relating to elections of the VP or the lead of the government business and the ministers. They are not subjected to elections, but there is surely some processes through which they undergo. The VP is actually approved by the House. There is an approval process in the House. Same with the leader of the opposition. I mean the leader of government business, the Prime Minister. They undergo a process of approval, which means they could be rejected by the House in case they are not fit. Now, the ministers undergo a vetting process. After being appointed, they undergo a vetting process by the Appointments Committee of Parliament, of which the LUP is a member, and the other members of the opposition. So now, the other side of the LUP, once the LUP is designated by the party with the greatest numerical strength in Parliament, in the opposition side, there is no requirement for even approval by the House. It's just announced, and that is all. It looks to me to be a blank check. And yet the LUP is a national leader. LUP is not just localized to the party with the greatest numerical strength in the opposition or restricted to the opposition. LUP is a national office established under Article 82. And I would imagine it would be subjected to some checks, some procedure of approving the designated LUP in the House. So without necessarily going into the provisions of the bill calling for elections, what would be your take on some processes through which a LUP should be finally approved in the House? Yes, the Secretary.
For such a wonderful presentation and highlighting issues where we are trying to protect the image of the minors and minority in the August House. So, Honorable LUP, thank you so much. Okay. Okay, minority chair. minority chair. So, chair, to save the image and the picture of the minority. So thank you, Revolop. We are here to push. Thank you.
Any other issue? Yes, Honorable Chair.
Whether are just going wrong in my mind. Have you had an opportunity to look at how leaders of opposition and other democracies are processed in the House? And in your opinion, how contradictory is what we are trying to do with what is happening elsewhere? Number two is, it actually tickled me in the propositions how the leader of opposition is going to cease to hold office. I think this is a tradition, a general practice elsewhere when you are holding a public office. There must certainly be some provision how you come to cease to hold that office. Is that contradictory to, in your view, to what is going on in this current bill? Lastly, I know multi-party democracy hurts, but what is your best way how to babysit this democracy within the opposition? Because at the end, as you say in your statement, that on page 5, a fragmented opposition is less effective in presenting a united front, which is crucial for influencing legislative outcomes, the last paragraph, and ensuring that diverse viewpoints are represented. It was just going on in my mind. I thought competitive elections, even within the opposition, should be a breeding ground for more competent leaders to emerge from among such a team, rather than being a weak point. I feel like, isn't your observation going to the fundamentals of the beauty of multi-party democracy, to provide for grounds for competition, and the winner, the best one of you, wins? I thought it was, I don't know what's your opinion with respect to that observation. I thought it was a strength rather than a weakness to provide for competitive processes within you, or either on this side or the other side, for the best to come out. Thank you.
My brother Lob, for the submission. I've looked at some good arguments that have been put forward on effectiveness and all those. It's really something which can help us. But I think the prior people had alluded to the fact that it would be an issue for a committee to even sit and consider, but to realize that it is within our power, that when such a bill is presented and referred to a committee, we have no mandate other than considering it. But one thing which I want clarity, and this question was posed by my sister on the issue of consultation, whether the mover of the respective bill had consulted. I wanted to find out with certainty. I know Lob is a colleague in a legal fraternity. Is it a legal requirement for you to be consulted before you move a private member's bill? Is it a legal requirement, or this is like an in-house where it is courtesy? Because when I look at Rule 121, a member has a right to move a private member's bill. And reading that rule exhaustively over rules of procedure, it does not put a duty upon a member to have to consult somebody whether they should bring that bill, because he has it is right. But I think now what we are doing here in the committee with this wide consultation is now our input all towards the bill as to whether we agree or disagree. But to castigate a member that he did not consult me before even he moved the bill, I think is not legally supported. I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Did the Honorable LUMU consult my office before moving this bill? With your permission, Chair, I'll tether that to the question of the Honorable Bosco. There is no legal requirement for a member moving a private member's bill to consult anybody or any office. That's why it's called a private member's bill. Yeah. However, usually when somebody is moving a bill on behalf of particular stakeholders, they will consult. I saw him reaching out to political parties in the opposition because he said he's doing this for the good of the opposition. So I think even though it was not a legal requirement, that's why he moved to different political parties, consulting them. I kept following on the news. Each of the parties that he went to told him not to go ahead with the bill, but he still went ahead anyway, which is his right. Do I think the bill is targeting myself personally? And maybe I'll tie that in with, because the chairman raised that, but let me first respond to the Honorable Vice Chairperson, who said the SG did not say that he would one time be in the opposition. I was very clear in my statement that the NRM delegation that came here did indicate that since the mover is looking at the bill starting next term, they never know they might be on the other side. That was mentioned by Councillor Barata. Honorable Chair, for information, the committee proceedings are normally aired live, so I was in my office following. I don't know if today they are also, relaying them live, but they are normally live, so people do follow. Honorable Chair, you firstly talked about the supersonic speed. Again, the reason I did raise that is because this bill was read for the first time on 1st October. On 2nd October in the evening, I got a letter inviting me on 3rd October in the morning. Maybe if there is a better English word than supersonic speed, it can be used. But I chose that word very deliberately in the letter that I wrote to you because it rarely happens. And as I did see you, Honorable Chair, speaking to the media, you said, yes, there are other bills before the committee, but you said this one is small, so you want to run quickly with it. But I said you were not being fair to us, whom you were inviting, and it's good you responded. Now, the question of, yes, is this targeting myself individually, because you did allude to that. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it most probably is a duck. Honorable Chair, you did ask and mention that the Vice President is approved, the Prime Minister is approved. They are not elected, Honorable Chair, and that's the issue that I've raised in my statement. Yeah, because they are not elected. They are appointed by somebody who is announced winner. And that's why I was asking, why is it seemingly okay to have practice on one side different from the practice on the other side? The Honorable Achia, how are LOPs in establishing, and I'm sure the committee has too, and you will discover that LOPs elsewhere, process is similar. The opposition MPs don't sit and elect a leader of the opposition. But we keep learning. Maybe I can be educated about a particular jurisdiction where that happens. I'm open to learning. How the LOP can be removed from office. There is no office in this country for which there is no way somebody can exit office. It is not there. Including even members of parliament, because the current legal framework is interesting. It provides for how an MP can be recalled, and then at the end, it says this can only happen under the movement system. So it's one of those redundant legal provisions that we have, yeah? But again, there's a way a member of parliament can cease to be a member of parliament. The leader of the opposition is a member of the commission. there is a very well stipulated modus operandi on how anyone can cease to be a member of the commission. So to answer you directly, the LUMU is not in office permanently, that he or she cannot cease to be in that office, just like any other office in this country. Competitive election should be good for opposition, Honorable Achia says. So why is it not good for the ruling party as well? Because if, as you're saying, it should be good for the opposition to sit and elect their leader of the opposition and elect their chief opposition whip, why is it not good for the NRM, from which you come, sir, to sit and elect your government chief whip and elect your leader of government business and elect the committees, committee leaderships, and so on and so forth? It's just a question that I'm throwing back. So, yeah, the modus operandi would be good to cut across. Yes, please.
I want to
With the chair's permission. I don't want
permission,
to
Chair.
take over his meeting.
I want to, that their procedures will follow as per the prescription of the law. If you look at the Prime Minister's situation, this is the same argument we had yesterday. We have no problem when it comes to, we say election or something, but whereas we say a particular provision of the Constitution is restrictive and says the Prime Minister shall be appointed. But now when we look at our Article 82, which still gives the leeway to Parliament's role and administration of Parliament's Act to be able to set in place that mechanisms. You have clearly brought out that there are some legislations which could be redundant. I would also say that when you look at Article 82, we needed to look at what is the intention of the framers of the Constitution. When you look at it, why do you put that duty to give Parliament the discretion? But we are saying now Parliament cannot exercise that discretion to see how it is chosen. Because election is one of the modes amidst others. Even you can choose through an appointment, you can choose through all these things. But I think it is something you take it up. Because we may say it is not viable today, but even in the subsequent Parliament, somebody will again come up with a similar motion. And it can raise the same issues, isn't it? So I think if we think that this would be redundant, take up an issue and have it amended so that we say, let's appoint. But you don't give Parliament the discretion to decide on which mode to choose and you say it cannot. I think that is a problem also we have in the legislation. Thank you. No, I said it is there.
Come again?
The one for the Prime Minister, if you look at 108 article, there shall be a Prime Minister who shall be appointed by the President. So there's a prescription in the law. It is by way of appointing. But when you look at the same Constitution, Article 82A, it says Parliament shall by law prescribe the following in respect of the leader of the opposition, how he or she is chosen. You find that this was another prescription of the law. And we seem to have a challenge with the modalities. So if you look at the word chosen, how he or she is chosen, how he or she ceases to hold office. Now Parliament is saying, how do we choose? Last time when we were interpreting a lot of issues here, we said
the procedure is clarified because the Constitution says Parliament shall prescribe a mode. Parliament prescribed that mode in the Administration of Parliament Act, saying the leader of the opposition shall be elected by the leading opposition party. That's in the law. So there is no lacuna. The Constitution says Parliament shall prescribe. Parliament actually prescribed. And I was elected by my party with specificity, if you want to know. I was elected by the National Executive Committee of my party. That's the top organ of the party. So I don't think there is a gap therein that it's confusing. Do you choose or otherwise? The law is very clear. The Administration of Parliament Act shall be elected by the leading opposition party. And that's what happened in my case. That's what happened with my predecessor. Speaking for my party, how we do actualize that. I think those are the questions that came through. If I've missed out any, I can be guided, Honorable Chair and members. People in this committee, I would like to defy you a little bit and thank the Honorable Juliet Lodu for being very smart today. because today is the only day I've come here and I've seen she's very smart. So I want to thank her, even though you stopped us from thanking people. But anyway, on a serious note, Honorable Chair, yes, Honorable Nsanja is inquisitive.
She's normally smarter, by the way.
Ah, okay.
Just that
I am glad. I take note of that. It's just that I don't usually come to this committee. This is the first time. Yes, how the NEC did conduct the election. The National Executive Committee comprises of several members who did sit, and the deputy chairperson is saying he's actually an independent member.
Order.
He's not a member of the party, at least not officially, but he's welcome. Honorable Taylor, you're also welcome through the chair. So yes, it's a committee that is comprised of several members, several leaders, and we sit and determine matters on behalf of the party. So when we saw the law saying the leader of the opposition shall be elected by the leading opposition party, our conscription of that was we're not going to call all the members of the party, registered members of the party, to come and elect. Our wisdom within the law was to go by the top organ of the party, which did carry out that election. And the minutes are available, and so on. That's how we have done with the previous law, myself, and so on. The Honorable Taylor, the Deputy Chairperson, rightly says it's the duty of this committee to guide Parliament and the nation in the quest to have good laws for this country. And that's why I came to this committee. I probably had the choice not to come, or any of the stakeholders you invited. I don't think they were under any compulsion. I've chaired a committee before. There are people who mandatorily, when you invite them, they must come. If they don't, you can summon them. We used to summon and even arrest people and bring them to a committee when I chaired one. But in the case of stakeholders, they come on their own volition because they believe this committee has got a duty. And we believe that that duty ought to be executed efficaciously. And so that's why I came to share my thoughts. I am very hopeful that, yes, the committee will capture our thoughts and put them into consideration. Some people might say, but well, maybe this is just for the motions of it, for formality and that kind of thing. I want to give the committee the benefit of doubt, and that's why I came to share those my thoughts. I've been seeing other stakeholders that have been coming to the committee sharing their thoughts. I am hopeful that the committee will capture them and share them with the rest of the House so that we are able to run this our country even better than we are. You see, we run this country together, government and the opposition. There are challenges we are still dealing with politically, but we are all stakeholders, and that's why we are here. So I thank you for inviting us, and we wish the committee all the best. Thank you.